This is a first-person psychological horror experience that mixes exploration, puzzle solving, and cosmic horror elements. It starts off slow and atmospheric, focusing heavily on story and environmental design, but later transitions into something more action-oriented and chaotic. So with that being said, let's break it down.
Arguing with John about how many actual days have passed since we ended up here.
The story follows a man named Andrew who survives a violent shipwreck and wakes up alone on a mysterious, isolated island. From the very beginning, his only goal is simple: finding his missing daughter, Ellie. But very quickly it becomes clear that nothing on this island is normal. The environments feel wrong, almost like reality is consistently shifting around him. Andrew starts finding strange symbols, distorted structures, and unexplained voices that guide him deeper into the island. As he explores, he discovers that the island is connected to something much older than human history. There are cosmic forces at play, entitles that do not belong in any normal understanding of reality. The more Andrew searches for his daughter, the more he is pulled into a larger mystery about what the island really is and why it seems to respond to his presence. His journey slowly turns into a descent into madness, where grief, loss, and curiosity starts to blur together. By the end, it becomes less about finding answers and more about whether those answers were even meant to be understood.
Since only pain accompanies me towards my demise.
The presentation of the short enhanced edition is one of the strongest elements, but also has clear limitations. Visually, the game is dark, gritty, and very atmospheric. It uses a semi-realistic art style that works well for its horror identity. The island itself feels empty, heavy, and uncomfortably to explore. Environments are built around tension rather than beauty. You are consistently moving through ruins, caves, distorted structures that actually feel like they should not actually exist. The sound design is especially important here. Footsteps, wind, distant noises, and strange whispers all play a big role in building atmosphere. Even when nothing is happening, the game never feels truly quiet. The music is used very sparingly. When it does appear, it tends to stay in a thriller or abundant horror style rather than anything melodramatic. This helps keep the focus on isolation and unease. On PlayStation 5, the game runs at a stable 60 frames per second. This helps keep exploration smooth and makes the experience feel more controlled even when the visuals get chaotic. Overall, the presentation is effective and atmospheric, but it doesn't always reach the level of polish you might expect from a full modern horror title. The gameplay in the Shore Enhanced Edition starts off very slow and focused. At first, it is all about exploration. You walk through empty environments, search for clues, and read notes to try to piece together what happened on this island. The puzzle plays a major role in the early game. Most of them are simple but intentionally unclear, forcing you to pay attention to your surroundings and experiment with objects. This early section works well with building atmosphere, but it moves at a very deliberate pace. Later in the game, the structure shifts significantly. After discovering an ancient artifact on the island, Andrew gains new powers that change the flow of the gameplay. What starts as a slow horror experience gradually becomes more action-oriented. You begin encountering hostile creatures more frequently, and combat becomes a bigger part of the experience. This transition is interesting, but it can also feel jarring, because the game does not fully commit to either style. The second half mixes exploration, combat, and escape sequences. While this adds variety, it also makes the overall structure feel less consistent. There is still a strong focus on story and atmosphere, but the gameplay loop becomes more fragmented as it progresses.
Fools. They won't let me write for them. They're all fishermen with their...
Despite its strong atmosphere and unique setting, the Shore Enhanced Edition has several issues that holds it back. The biggest problem is the combat. It feels weak and underdeveloped, especially compared to the strong atmosphere build-up early on. Hits lack impact, and enemy encounters often feel more clunky than intense. This makes action sequences feel less satisfying than they should be. Puzzles are another mixed area. While some are fun to figure out, many others feel too vague or lack clear direction. This can lead to a lot of backtracking and confusion. The level design also starts to feel repetitive in some areas, especially during long cave sections and maze-like environments that drag out the pace. The story, while strong in the setup and cosmetic horror themes, does not always deliver clear answers. By the end, many questions are left open, which will work for some players but feel unsatisfying for others. There are also technical issues including frame drops, bugs, and occasional glitches that interrupt the flow of the gameplay. Nothing completely breaks the game, but it does impact immersion. Combined, these issues make the experience feel inconsistent even when the atmosphere is at its best. The Shore Enhanced Edition is a game that is strong in atmosphere and ideas, but weaker in execution. It delivers a dark, cosmetic horror experience that relies heavily on exploration and uncertainty. When it works, it is unsettling and immersive. However, weak combat, unclear puzzle design, and technical issues prevent it from reaching its full potential. This is a game that horror fans may appreciate for its atmosphere and story concepts, but it's not going to work for everyone. For that, I'm giving The Shore Enhanced Edition a 3 out of 5. Thank you for tuning into the best place for independent gaming journalism, the Gamer Section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and stay locked in for more reviews, interviews, and gaming content coming soon.